I'd like to call to order the City Council work session agenda on Monday, June 29th, 26. I'm already out of town. On June 26, 2017, it's 5 p.m. There is a CFD meeting and a regular meeting tonight after the work session. So it's been called to order. Oh, we are now all here. So the council will receive history, a tale of the Two Cities event, intergovernmental agreement, the IGA with Avondale, and explore the future alternatives. And please, council, refrain from asking questions till the staff presentation is completed. Thank you. You're on.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's my privilege to be here this evening to discuss the tale of two cities and give an event update. I'm joined, it sounds like I've got heavy sound in here this evening.
It is. It's echoing
It's
really
echoing.
bad.
Really echoing.
That's great. I'm here tonight with David. I'm here tonight with David Side, our Parks and Recreation Manager.
You're floating.
Who has a folder of information should we need it for tonight's discussion. So tonight we'll talk about the event background for Tale of Two Cities, staff recommendations for moving forward, and then discuss next steps from here. So just to give you a historical perspective on the Tale of Two Cities event, the Tale of Two Cities event was initially geared towards celebrating the state's centennial in 2012. Arizona cities were encouraged to create and organize events to celebrate the centennial milestone. The Centennial Committee was created to develop Goodyear's way of celebrating, from which can you hear me?
Yes,
from which the Tale of Two Cities event was, and the partnership with Avondale was born. Initially intended to be a one-year event, both cities sought to turn this into a reoccurring event, which has resulted in 6 events now being conducted. Per the current IGA with Avondale, the city is responsible for 50% of the cost for the event, not to exceed $30,000 per city. Okay. So here's a quick timeline for you. In January 2012, Council adopted the initial IGA with Avondale to conduct Tale of Two Cities for 1 year. The inaugural event held in 2012. In August of 2012, the IGA was renewed for 5 years, which basically led to 5 additional events from 2013 to 2017. Tonight we're here in work session that's highlighted in yellow, primarily because the IGA with the City of Avondale is set to expire at the end of this month. So the current Tale of Two Cities, which most of you have participated in, event hours 10:30 to 3 p.m. It included a dignitary breakfast, of course a parade, community performances, vendor booths, and the popular naturalization ceremony. The event has achieved a degree of success in celebrating Avondale, Goodyear, and the Southwest Valley by bringing the community together, enhancing partnerships, and celebrating the Southwest Valley's diverse history. Despite this success, staff at both cities agree that the event can be improved while maintaining the foundation for the celebration, basically celebrating both cities' historical perspectives. Staff at both cities have had discussions on potential event modifications, which is why we are here this evening to kind of run some of these modifications by you. So in working with Avondale staff, we looked at how this event can be improved. And while we feel it has been successful, after an event has went on for 6 years, it's always time to look at an event and see if it needs a shot in the arm or how it can be updated. And that's what we're here to discuss this evening. So staff recommendation, along with Avondale staff's recommendation, first is to potentially eliminate the parade and shift from a parade and festival event to a street block party celebration. As part of that shift, it would mean shifting the event hours to a more evening event that could be associated with a block party type celebration, perhaps from 5 to 10 in the evening, live entertainment, stages. We could include the naturalization ceremony, which seems to be quite popular. How about a craft beer garden and food vendors? We could potentially partner with a nonprofit to accommodate some craft beer sales. And then, of course, activities for children. So in terms of location for the block party, the idea would be still keep Estrella Mountain Community College as the hub, but with the block party actually occurring on Thomas Road from Dysart west to this first entrance here into Estrella Mountain Community College. So we envision this area with stages, entertainment, food trucks, the whole nine. So what does the event look like? Well, I want you to imagine live entertainment, stages, bands, potentially even a classic rock band, maybe. Heavy metal.
Jumping up and down, but I'm
You're right,
for
right.
you.
Country, could be a variety of genres. We haven't quite gotten that far, but live entertainment that is entertaining and fun. Okay? And then, of course, lots of dancing in the street, right? So all ages participating in dancing and having a good time. Perhaps we bring in food trucks to complement the event. So many different food flavors there for all to enjoy. We talked about a beer wine garden and what potentially that could look like. And let's not forget about the family-friendly activities for kids, bounce houses, all the things that kids love, face painting and other types of activities as well. And lastly, how do we sprinkle in morsels of goodness? I want you to think about that, morsels of goodness. These are things that complement the event, that won't show up on any type of agenda or schedule or itinerary. They just happen. Now think about that. You're at an event and a street performer pops up. And these types of things, this type of complement and entertainment just happens. I'm referring them tonight as morsels of goodness. Whether it's jugglers, acrobatics, hoopers. Just a yo-yo guy that seems to have the crowd captivated. But whatever the activity, it's the captivation, it's the unexpected, it's the non-traditional of entertainment right here in Goodyear. How about that? And so these are just some of the event ideas that we're exploring right now. The next steps for us would be to finalize event details with Avondale, bring back before council for action is an IGA renewal, and we kind of go from here. So with that, I guess what we're hoping to hear tonight is if there is consensus, if there are any other ideas. So it's kind of a major event shift from a parade to street block party. And so this concept was presented to Avondale City Council, and they seem to be excited about it as well. And so with that, we're here to get your feedback.
Good. I'm sure there's some at this dais. Who would like to start first? Brandon, would you like to start since you are our newbie on the council?
Yeah, I like the block party idea. I think it's good to have the pop-up type people there, have some surprises. I think that'd be fun as well. I don't necessarily mind losing the parade per se, but I do like the block party aspect. I was afraid I want to make sure it's different enough than some of the other events that we already have. Like the food trucks and the different bands remind me of the last event we had up in Estrella. So just so it's, I mean, maybe the same aspects, but it sounds like the pop-up things would bring something different to the community that can distinguish it, set it apart from other things, so people know it's different, unique. So that would be my only feedback.
Thank you.
I agree 100%. The parade, I think, has run its course, and I think we talked about that with some of the Avondale Council members, when we were in the parade, it just seemed like it was kind of like, I think it was like the same thing every year, and so people necessarily weren't coming. I'm glad you're keeping the naturalization ceremony. I love that. That was probably my favorite part of it last year. And really would love to see on some of the stages some of the cultural, and of course maybe an AC/DC tribute rock band. But I think it's great, and I think thank you for thinking outside the box to try being something new and kind of hip. And I think the pop-up kind of reminds me of like downtown Seattle type of stuff, a little more urban. Sure. So I think that would be great. If Avondale's on board, I'm on board.
Joanne?
Well, thank you. I agree. I believe as a great way of putting it, the parade's gone its course. And the block party does seem like a unique, well, no, it's not unique, but it's a good change. And a couple of questions. First of all, something that you didn't have in your presentation is I'd like to see what the attendance has been for the last 5, 6 years, whatever it's been.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Osborne. The attendance estimates have been a little subjective in the past. I know we partner with Goosebumps Incorporated as well as Avondale on this event, and they're actually the event facilitator, if you will. We've seen the high point of estimates around 8,000 to last year's agreed upon number was about 4,500. So it's like I said, it's not the most scientific method to it, but we've tried to be consistent throughout the years, but there has been a range, I would say, from those 2 points.
Can I add to that, Joanne, before you go ahead and ask a question? Well, I think that the crowd came forth when all the stands were out there and all the people were on the ground. The crowds were not as strong down the parade line it was when after, and everybody was talking to each other, and that was very interactive, very much like you're seeing on your picture. Go ahead, Joanne. Thank you.
Well, and the reason I asked that is I appreciate the fact that we're collaborating with Avondale and that we want to do something fun together as cities. At the same time, I don't want to continue on with an event that's just dying. It's just not, it's like change it just to save it, or does it just, change it? And the other thing, though, that I'm going to add to, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Goosebumps has been doing it for quite a few years. Maybe they're not the marketing group that should be doing it. That's the other thing that I'm leaning to. So I think there's a few things to explore on this. I do like the block party, and I would have to say one thing. Let's not put the beer garden in front of the church. Okay, that would be my only logistical thing. Thanks.
Molly?
Is this our new PA system? It's awful. It's echoing. I couldn't understand what Joanne even was saying up here on the dais. It's hard to...
I think they're still working on it.
I hope they are.
Okay, so...
I think a block... I'm
yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
If I may, we actually have the technical folks here that are helping us monitor it tonight. So
Good. Well, it's really hard up here to hear my colleagues to the left, what they're saying. I guess it's going to the back of the room and not where we can hear. And there's a really big echo with the presenters as well. And you have to really listen closely and hard to catch every word they're saying, because I've missed some of the presentation, but I'm watching the pictures. So thank you.
thanks for your feedback.
Okay. I think it's going to be fun if it is expressed correctly to the public that this will be a free event, free concerts, but you buy your food at the food truck. And I think it would be fun to do it, just to try something different, because I agree that the parade, I think, has petered out enough where we need to do something different. I'm not sure that I would want Goosebumps to continue doing it. I'd like to see new blood myself. I agree with Councilmember Osborne. Maybe we need a whole new look with it, as long as we get equal billing with Avondale, so that they know it's both of us rather than a Tale of Two Cities block watch party. I don't know that that's going to tell anyone that it's really Goodyear and Avondale. And is the cost going to be the same, not to exceed $30,000 a piece? for each city?
Correct. Mayor, Vice Mayor Campbell, correct. The approach will be that we work within the existing budget of not to exceed 30,000. To answer the question on will this event, we're trying something new. I think the approach would be to come back before council with a one-year IGA and see how this works out. And this would basically be the opportunity, the last hurrah to really change the event and do something special. And then we can sit and evaluate it. And if we want to head a different direction, we'll be able to do that at that time. In terms of Goosebumps, they are actually contracted with the city of Avondale to hold their events. And I think Goosebumps has done a good job given the type of event that they're given to market. Maybe this event will hopefully have more of an appeal that will attract more, is what staff's kind of position is.
So we'll have to use Goosebumps if we partner with Avondale, and the only way we won't is if we did our own event, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I do like the 1 year just to try it out and see if we like it and if it is received well or if we need some changes rather than to tie us into 5 years. But I think it's if we do it at the same time of the year, people will look forward to always doing that then. And I don't know of any other location to do it at, really, except right by Estrella on Thomas Road. I wish it was more in Goodyear than all in Avondale, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we've really searched hard, and that location seems to make the most sense and less impactful on traffic for sure.
Okay, thanks.
Joe?
I like the concept. From the logistics, that's where I'd be more concerned to make sure that the area that it's within is not preventing the neighbors from getting in and out of their facility, and even maybe not create a problem so there's clear area for people to park, so they're not using neighborhood streets and that type of thing. I know, I'm trying to remember, it might have been the parade itself, but I was teaching class at one of the events, and some of my students were having problems figuring out how to get to the school because they had a lot of the streets closed and there was only certain ways to get in. So I'm just hoping when they work this out, they're a little bit on the logistics, people coming and going and areas for them to park. But I like the concept. The parade, I believe, has run its course, and we need to try something else. And the fact that we hook up with Avondale to try to put on an event, I think it has a lot of positives for all of us in the community there. So logistics would be more my concern, to make sure some of those parameters get worked out.
Thank you.
Bill?
I agree with everybody. The parade's done. I think everything good about the block party concept. I'm willing to give it a shot for a year. A couple of concerns that I have. One is the timing of the decision of what to do. If this goes to the City of Avondale Council in August, for example, and we don't see it until October, the decision has basically been made, and we're going to be told what that is. So I'd like to try to get those two meetings a little closer together, so that there's a true what are we both trying to accomplish, Avondale and Goodyear, by doing the event. I realize it's staff driven, but I just want to make sure that we're not the dog being wagged by the tail or vice versa. So I don't think we should be doing that to Avondale either. I think that if we're going to partner, let's partner.
Yeah, I think from what I'm hearing this evening that there's a strong consensus for the event direction in terms of stage and entertainment and block party and timing and the other elements to it with both cities. The only thing now is ironing out what is the entertainment, who is it, that sort of thing. But in terms of overall event concept, live entertainment, dancing, activities, morsels of goodness sprinkled in, I think from a conceptual standpoint, both cities are in agreement.
I would like to add to that when you're finished, Bill.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to something slightly different. So did you want to jump in now?
Then I'll go ahead and let me run this. It's not the parade you're going to talk about. I mean, it's not this event you're
Yeah, it's this event.
Well, then go ahead and finish.
So, and then from a public safety perspective, I have huge concerns about bringing that many people together with alcohol in a pretty wide open area, that this may be a much larger burden on our law enforcement than we thought perhaps possible. So I hope that as part of the discovery team, that there's representation from Avondale PD and Goodyear PD, that we're talking about that. I think there's enough reason for us to look at that. And then finally, the live music piece, I don't know what slide it is, you don't have to worry about going back. Next to the church, to the west of the church is a neighborhood. Right there. Just west of the church is a neighborhood. And just south of Thomas is a new multifamily that's gone up there. So I know that the city of Litchfield Park had a number of complaints about the music during one of the festivals that they co-sponsored with the Wigwam. And I live probably 3-4 blocks from there, and the music was very loud. I'm worried about the street party going all the way to where the RD part of Thomas Road. If we expand that whole area, wherever we set that music, I don't want this to turn into a public affairs nightmare where we've got people that are now flooding us saying, "Oh my God, it was great that you had it, but you blew us out of bed at night." So I think we've got to be very careful about how we balance that.
Yeah, there definitely will be some impact. We've thought about that initially and what type of outreach we would do specifically with this neighborhood there, notifying them of the event. It is a Saturday, and although we're targeting 10 o'clock, maybe that's 9:30 or 9 or something. But it is something we're aware of. They will be able to hear it for sure.
Yeah, so that, and I think we might be able to do something with the way where we put the stage, the direction. And then finally, the last concern that I have is about the CVS pharmacy on the corner. I'm fairly certain that the preschool is not open on Saturday, but the CVS always is. And I don't want to start getting into a situation where we've closed this road for a number of hours, and now we've just basically told them to just go ahead and close on a Saturday. I know somebody who owns a business in Litchfield Park that when they have the street art in the park, they have to make a decision whether to stay open or not because they're not a restaurant.
Thank you. Great comment. In the past, this road has been closed during the parade portion.
For a couple hours.
For a couple of hours. This would definitely extend that. There is access to CVS off of Dysart there. But we would definitely make sure we're in good contact with them and with what's happening.
Yeah. Other than, some very generic concerns, but I think they're important for our businesses, for our residents, et cetera. The fact that we're looking to do something different with Avondale is, I think it's very appropriate. I'm happy for that. I've been sitting here as I listen to everybody trying to think about what about the people in central, western, and southern Goodyear that, this is a very remote location, but you're right, there really is no other central place that we can partner. So I think the location from Avondale Goodyear is, you couldn't get a better location than Estrella Mountain Community College. But I think in the future, as we look to the future, what are we going to do for our residents? And I know we've talked about having these events and street parties and that kind of thing, getting that back into the center of the city, that we can really attract everybody. And I hope that is on the radar screen at some point as well.
Thank you.
I just want to compliment on the presentation. That craft beer garden was Litchfield Park, and it was successful. I was there. They had people, it was gated in. They had people all around. You had to buy a ticket to get in, and then you got one beer, I think, and then the rest you had to pay for. It was the most successful thing they've done all year, let me put it that way, without going into detail on it. The music was fantastic. Ron and I sat there in the center of that circle and listened to the music. It was absolutely fantastic. This reminds me somewhat of Boulder, Colorado. You go to Boulder, Colorado in daytime on that street, and they have vendors, they have bicyclists, they have musicians, they have all kinds of things. And I think this kind of thing would attract those people in the show business that do those type of things. So I just think it's a great. So with the craft, I like the beer idea. Listen, Munich has it. I mean, all over the world that Ron and I live, Christmas Fest, Vine Fest, they have all these.
Morsels of goodness everywhere.
They have it all over, and they have the same problems that Bill is referring to, and so you do have to work really hard at it. And yes, they make noise,
There will be an impact for sure.
and I think we should be sensitive to that, but I don't think we should give in to that either, okay? Because there's always those people that say, this is my place, I don't want any noise. I know that from where I live. This is mine, I don't want to hear anything, not even a car passing down the street. So I just think you can let it kill you if you get too into it. But I think this would be just fun. You've got, both cities have young people. What, we're 36 now, that's our age group, 36.3 or 5, around there. I know it, don't worry about it.
Age makes no difference when it comes to music.
No, it
Trust me.
doesn't. But the
Party's a
fact of the
party.
matter
Party's
is,
a party.
it's lively. It's lively, okay? It's something that's going to be, it spells F-U-N. Let's go out and have some fun. So I'm excited.
Once, it's not like it's every Saturday.
Sherry?
I just want to address one of Bill's points about, I'm a business owner in downtown Glendale. Oh, they have festivals. They have the chocolate festival, they have the balloon festival, and at Christmas they have Glendale Glitters. It really, we're right in the center of that. It really, we just work around it. I think if you give the business owners, they always are great and give us enough notice. The police last time stopped by and gave us a little flyer. This is when we're going to, this is the parking. And they set it up because it does take several hours ahead of time to set it up, probably more so than the parade. So I'm not worried about that. And they have a beer garden, and we've never had a problem at any of the festivals I've ever been to. Same thing. They check IDs, they give you a wristband. So I'm pretty confident that, we'll have enough, the chief will have enough, our chief and Avondale's chief will have enough law enforcement to make sure that, as Joanne was saying, fun and, that the right people over 21 are having fun.
Like Bill says, though, we have to have a good team that goes around.
Yeah.
As a team. A certain committee is going to do that, and they're going to all the neighborhoods and getting the feedback, and we have a list of the feedback, and we can work with that.
Plan it out.
And so, yeah, I'm excited.
Great.
Any other comment?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
How are you going to handle recruiting businesses to be actual vendors at the parade? Are you going to divide it equally between Goodyear and Avondale, or outside vendors, or?
Yeah, basically Goosebumps has managed that for us in the past, and there is an outreach effort that it takes place, and basically businesses are welcome to participate for a booth fee.
I was thinking, since we have Saddle Mountain Brewery, that would be someone I would hope we would approach and ask if they would like to partake in that, since it's a local brewery, and if there's one in Avondale that I don't know about, the same, because local home folks bring in the crowds, really.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Thank you, great.
Thank you.
We really appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Morsels of goodness.
Okay, council, I think what's all said and done, we're going to adjourn this meeting, and we have only 2 minutes to start the next meeting, so I would, our CFD meeting, so I would stay close to the dais, all right? This meeting's adjourned.